Zelensky, appearing in a heavily produced video address on Monday, said the enemy position was captured by ground systems and drones, without infantry involvement and without losses on the Ukrainian side. The president also revealing that drones have carried out roughly 22,000 missions on the front lines. In other words, said Zelensky, lives were saved more than 22,000 times when a robot went into the most dangerous areas instead of a warrior.
Ten missing scientists with access to classified stuff, nuclear material, aerospace. They've all gone missing or turned up dead in the last couple months. Based on what you've been briefed, what do you think is happening here, and do you think that this is connected or totally random?
Well, I hope it's random, but we're going to know in the next week and a half. I just left a meeting on that subject, so pretty serious stuff, but we're going to be hopefully, I don't know, coincidence, if you whatever you want to call it, but some of them were very important people, and we're going to look at it over the next short time.
Would you be willing to extend the ceasefire, or will the fighting resume, Mr. President?
I would say the fighting, if there's no deal, fighting resume.
Okay.
I think it's very, very important for the Pope to be careful when he talks about matters of theology. And I think that one of these issues here is that there has been, again, hey, random dude screaming, I told you I'd respond to your point. I just want to respond to this question first. But I think one of the issues here is that if you're going to opine on matters of theology, you've got to be careful. You've got to make sure it's anchored in the truth.
I want to encourage everyone out there watching today to change their withholding if they haven't already done so, because if you change your withholding, then you will get an automatic real wage increase, be on a weekly or a monthly basis, and you will be able to keep more of your money this calendar year.
This incredible paper that the Presidio Bitcoin initiative put out on quantum. The thing to understand about quantum, it's not a fundamental risk to all of Bitcoin. It's a risk to certain wallets. There are hard questions that the Bitcoin community needs to answer. But the really positive thing, in part because we've had real market leaders like Nick Carter pointing attention to this, is that the developer community is now focused on it. We've seen an acceleration of proposals to solve it. We see the community addressing these problems. Look, I think it's really exciting to see Bitcoin here at 75,000. The fact that we've been able to hold these levels is really appealing. There is this question of whether we're in a channel or whether we can break out to the upside. If we can break out to the upside at a time that funding rates are so negative, I think that's an extraordinarily positive story, and there's probably upside volatility for us. So I'm just sort of watching and waiting and looking at prices just like everyone else. Of course, I also have an eye on the rumors about the Clarity Act. There's certainly a lot of chatter about that. I think if we can line up passage of the Clarity Act, pretty strong price performance, improvement on the quantum side, I think it's going to be a pretty exciting Q2. Maybe the spring will arrive early.
Sounds like you are bullish on the Clarity Act passing before midterms.
I'm hopeful. I'm not bullish on anything in Washington, and everything can break. But the most recent spat of rumors has been more positive than I expected. So put me down as hopeful, but you always have to treat DC with a bit of skepticism. I wouldn't count those chickens until they're fully hatched and indeed signed into law. Story that we've known, which is when you provide easy, low-cost exposure to Bitcoin in an ETF wrapper, people are excited about it. It's one more data point that convinces me that the wave of institutional capital coming into Bitcoin is just going to build from here, right? Did we need another Bitcoin ETF? People wondered. It turns out the answer is yes. I think there's a nearly insatiable long-term appetite for exposure to Bitcoin in institutional portfolios. I expect Morgan Stanley's product to be successful. I expect the other ETFs to continue bringing in inflow. So I think it's just a great sign long-term for Bitcoin.
Talking about is, of course, that 14 basis point fee that undercut everyone, including Bitwise. Curious how Bitwise is thinking about staying competitive when products like this are launching in the market. You know, Morgan Stanley obviously going to leverage that massive fleet of 16,000 in-house advisors. Talk to me a little bit about positioning when you see products like this launch.
Yeah, look, Morgan Stanley is an absolutely incredible firm, and that's an incredible price point. I think it's broadly good for the market to have multiple solutions. The reason people turn towards Bitwise, which has a low-cost offering at 20 basis points, is they want a specialist crypto asset manager that does this 24/7, 365, that has a 18-person research team there to answer their questions about crypto. People are going to choose different solutions. Some may go with BlackRock, the world's largest asset manager. Some may go with Morgan Stanley, which is an incredible firm with this low-cost ETF. And some want a specialist. Bitwise is proud to be, the leading crypto specialist with an ETP in the market. I think we're going to win our fair share of what's going to be a market measured in the hundreds of billions of dollars. So I welcome Morgan Stanley into fold. We'll compete with them on Bitcoin. We also have other products, a broader suite within crypto. I think we're going to be just fine.
Welcome to the Crypto Teacher. And I come back with that video just to make you think. And make sure you join the Patreons. And we know every Friday we have an event. And that's the reason why it's so important to join the Patreon. So therefore you keep up to date with the NWO events and then know why it's happening. Because we are seeing movie after movie. Now, if you're not a part of the Patrons, make sure you're donating to the Cash App. Also, go like and follow the TikTok. More videos to come. And what I want you to do right now, guess what? It's free of charge. I want you to hit the like button. I want you to make sure that you're subscribed and share this channel everywhere. And now they have it where you can hide the channel. It's right above the comments. And guess what? That also is free of charge. It's always free of charge to support. And your life is an illusion and TV is your reality. We have the actor and president Zelensky on how the machines are going to take the place of the humans. It's too dangerous. And we know they're going to sell that fear in order to bring in this fourth industrial revolution. And the crypto teacher told you about it a long time ago. Remember, it's a plan. It moves in phases. The drums are beaten are going to be cyber, and it's going to be in space. And humanity will no longer be needed. And now we have NVIDIA laying down the groundwork for the Metaverse, Lyra 2.0. And we know in the Middle East, they already have the Metaverse already. Remember, when it comes to NWO, they test different sectors of the new digital economy in certain areas, whether it's certain states, United States, or certain countries. Until the test is complete, then they roll it out to the masses. And remember, the crypto teacher told you. And Trump is asked about the 10 missing scientists. And we know it's a movie because he stated they're having a meeting on it. You cannot make this stuff up. And we know for a fact, we've already seen this in the movies. And remember, the crypto teacher told you. And Trump says no ceasefire. If it's no deal, it's going to be more fighting. But remember, he stated the drums are beaten was over. We've already won. Again, we know it's a movie. Get your popcorn, sit back, and let it play out. And we have J.D. Vance on the Pope. And he said something very powerful, and it's going to go over a lot of people's heads. And this is definitely biblical. He actually stated that the Pope's comments have to be lined with the truth. Yes, you heard that correct. And we know everything the Pope said was correct. But those words from J.D. Vance are very powerful. We know there is no place, and I mean absolutely no place, for the drums are beaten. And this is definitely in my new book. I'm going to touch on it just a little bit in Patreon, not a lot. Like I stated, it's in my new book. But this is definitely biblical. And remember, the crypto teacher told you. And we have Scott Besson. Knows that the sheep are hurting. He really tells Americans to change their withholdings so therefore they can get their money now. Yes, gosh, you can't make it up. And we know a lot of people are already smart enough to do that already. And I'm not going to get into that. But remember, the crypto teacher told you. And we have Matt Hogan of Bitwise on the dangers of Bitcoin when it comes to quantum. But guys, we know how old quantum is. This is a plan that moves in phases. They've already prepared to do whatever they choose to do. But that's the reason why it's so important for you to be educated, so therefore you don't fall for the devil's tricks. And he's asked about the Clarity Act, and we're definitely going to get regulation this year. We know when it comes to the puppets, they play the Hegelian dialectic, but when it comes to the NWO's agenda, they get it pushed forward at the last minute. We've seen it too many times. We've seen the movie before. And then he talks about Morgan Stanley and BlackRock's ETFs. And there's no way they can compete because the only thing they had to do is lower the fees. And we saw this with BlackRock and Grayscale. Grayscale basically handed everything over to BlackRock. All Grayscale had to do was lower their fees. They were in the better position. But remember, it's a plan that moves in phases. The big banks, as we can clearly see, have been funding crypto from the beginning, and they're about to take full control. And remember, the crypto teacher told you. And we have Kraken CEO looking at the reporter like he's crazy because we've already had this information a long time ago. And we know the Rothschilds are invested in Kraken. Whether they go public or not, they are definitely well positioned for the fourth industrial revolution. And remember, the crypto teacher told you. And when we look at the drums of beating, we saw this with Russia and Ukraine. Russia could have took out Ukraine in 2 minutes. They just kept letting it go for this fourth industrial revolution. It is building a new digital economy. And you can look and see the Iran, the United States drums are beating is going to be the same way. They're just going to keep kicking this can down the road and setting up China to be the winner. Because we see the United States being isolated, and we know this U.S. dollar is about to collapse. They have to devalue the dollar or devalue the debt, and that means that these countries are about to make a run on these U.S. treasuries. And remember, the crypto teacher told you. And since the beginning, we've had big tech in bed with the military. And we know the military always tests out this technology. And then they hand it over to the people to manipulate, take advantage, and surveil the masses. We've seen the movie too many times. And this is some powerful technology. And remember, this technology can be used for good or evil. And again, that's the reason why it's so important for you to understand the technology so therefore you don't fall for the devil's tricks. You don't have to be an expert. You just have to understand the technology a little bit so therefore you can step aside. And remember, the crypto teacher told you because he knows when it comes to the NWO, it's all planned out. You have a wonderful day.
Are there plans to take Kraken public soon?
Well, we confidentially filed.
Oh, is that news?
I believe it's news. Yeah.
It's new. Okay, so that is a yes.
I believe it's news. Yeah, that was Kraken co-CEO Arjun Sethi yesterday at the Semaphore World Economy Summit here in Washington, D.C., confirming that the crypto exchange will eventually hit the public markets via parent company Payward. Payward did file an IPO confidentially, meaning the company submitted draft S1 to the SEC for private review. What that does is it allows it to hide sensitive financial statements and plans from competitors during the review process. It basically gives companies the chance to test market demand with investors before fully committing to launch publicly.
Well, you could already see the effects of the Iran war hitting the economy. Now, China's in better position to weather the storm than most other countries out there. But it is a net energy importer. It is a food importer. It does rely on a lot of inputs into its manufacturing machine. So you can already see some of the stresses. If you look at our commodities data, for instance, you're already seeing all kinds of volatility and these abrupt lurching movements all over the place in aluminum, which has actually maintained some strength, but steel, copper, this is just the very beginning too. You haven't seen the secondary effects. So, as there's a greater hit on demand, as there's a greater hit on input costs, these are going to cause a sort of a pinching movement moment on China's economy as the the fallout accelerates.
Hey, David. So those deal talks between Google and the Pentagon would let the military use Gemini in classified settings. According to the information, Google has proposed contract language barring uses like mass domestic surveillance and fully autonomous weapons without human oversight. But the broader agreement, at least according to this report, would still allow use for all lawful purposes. The same legal framework that Anthropic refused to accept back in February. And that's what's so significant. It's not just that it would dramatically expand Google's defense business, it's that it comes only months after Anthropic's own talks with the Pentagon collapsed over many of those same issues. Now, there were already signs that Google was moving to capitalize on that fallout. Google Cloud Chief Thomas Kurian reportedly pitched the Pentagon on a broader partnership the very day Anthropic's negotiations fell apart. And within weeks, Google was offering AI agents in unclassified government settings. And they weren't alone in spotting that opening. OpenAI signed its own Pentagon deal for classified workloads in the immediate aftermath of Anthropic.
We're going to have tremendous workforce availability. We're also going to have robots helping us. We're going to have a lot of robots helping us because we need it. And because we're going to town, we're building a lot between the AI and the auto plants. So we're going to need robots. We're going to have robots, but that's going to help us.
Robots hold steady hands in the operating room. And drones are redefining the future of war. Innovations of first-generation humanoids, factory automation, and autonomous vehicles have surged from private sector investment. Every one of these advancements is powered by AI. The robots are here. Our future is no longer science fiction.
Maybe crypto is actually built for the machines and we didn't even know it. And AI can easily handle private keys and easily understands transaction hashes and like how all this stuff works. It is money that is built for computers, even before the computers to intelligently handle it were built. So I find that interesting. And, perhaps those of us who were involved in crypto pre-AI were kind of just like getting the ground ready for the AI systems to have a fully developed financial system handed to them, for better or worse.
This could be perhaps the greatest revolution in financial technology since the birth of the internet itself. Many Americans are unaware that behind the scenes, the technical backbone of the financial system is decades out of date, many, many years out of date. You know that. Paul and others are straightening it out, but payments and money transfers are costly and take days or even weeks to clear. Under this bill, the entire ancient system will be eligible for a 21st century upgrade using the state-of-the-art crypto technology.
And as President Trump has directed, we are going to keep the U.S. the dominant reserve currency in the world, and we will use stable coins to do that.
I think stable coins could reinforce dollar supremacy, because with stablecoins could end up being one of the largest buyers of U.S. treasuries or T-bills. Mm-hmm. So all of a sudden, if you are using a stablecoin in Nigeria that's backed by the U.S. dollar, you don't actually have to have dollars. It's on your phone. You can transact.
We are going big on digital assets. So Trump administration has made digital assets a priority. I've seen estimates that just over the short term, stablecoins could create $2 trillion of demand for U.S. treasuries and treasury bills. To put that in context, the number is probably about $300 billion right now.
We will take a close look at regulatory impediments to blockchain, stablecoins, and new payment systems.
The Department of Commerce is going to start issuing its statistics on the blockchain, because you are the crypto president, and we are going to put out GDP on the blockchain so people can use the blockchain for data distribution, and then we're going to make that available to the entire government so all of you can do it. We're just ironing out all the details so we can do it.
Together, these world-leading technology giants are announcing the formation of Stargate. So put that name down in your books. because I think you're going to reduce the cost of virtually all goods and services. It'll make the United States a manufacturing superpower and the world capital of artificial intelligence and crypto. But with today's announcement, we take a major step to bring healthcare into the digital age. Instead of filling out the same tedious paperwork at every medical appointment, patients will simply be able to grant their doctors access to their records at the push of a button. Just a button and you're all set, and all the information the doctor needs will be immediately transmitted.
Going to a different economy, and we're going to be learning more about that as we go, but clearly we're learning that things can be done from remote locations. We're learning that technology can replace people even more than we thought.
We're not going back to the same economy. We're recovering, but to a different economy, and it'll be one that is more leveraged to technology. And I worry that that is going to make it even more difficult than it was for many workers.
In Silicon Valley, and my friends who work in technology know that what we did to the manufacturing workers, we are now going to do to the retail workers, the call center workers, the fast food workers, the truck drivers, and then even bookkeepers, accountants, insurance agents, lawyers, and on through the economy. So what happened to the manufacturing workers is a very clear sign.
And so we'll import Chinese-based CBDC technology. So it's going to be CBDC in a box provided to you by the People's Bank of China.
But every stock, every bond, every currency, every commodity, every piece of art, every private business, every piece of real estate will eventually be a token on a blockchain, an entry on a ledger, permanent and immutable. We will have truth instead of trust, and we will save over $7 trillion a year.
Like what you see in China and their social credit scoring systems, right? If we get identity wrong, it could be a tool to enslave humanity. And if we get it right, it could be a tool to liberate humanity. And as an American, I'm obviously rooting for the one that's on the side of freedom.
If we could tokenize all our ETFs, all $5.3 trillion of our ETFs, and provide that in a digital wallet, you could seamlessly, without fees, going from a digital currency or a stable coin or whatever that may be in your digital wallet and buy bond or stocks. And I believe that is going to be the future.
I believe we're going to be in the cutting edge of tokenizing bonds and stocks. It's coming. And we have the technology now. The fact that we are now moving forward in tokenization, every bond and stock, is crazy. Yeah. We should be moving towards that frontier. Obviously, there's winners and losers and all that, but we need to be prepared for the tokenization. And it would democratize more finance if we tokenized bonds and stocks.
Cryptoteacher and the new World Order book, plus the 3 kids books. It's time to re-educate. Also, new to cryptos, Coinbase, Bitrue, Binance. Do not forget book links and crypto links are in the description. The stock channel, guys. Don't forget to go like, subscribe, spread everywhere. You have your Kobo, your chip stocks, your banking, your gaming. While everybody's sitting at home, get home stocks, the Seaver, the biotech stocks. And while everybody's at home wishing they were still getting that free money, what are they doing? Drinking and smoking weed. Don't forget about those stocks, and you have a wonderful day. The most powerful person in the world is the storyteller. The storyteller sets the vision, values, and agenda of an entire generation to come. Steve Jobs. And guys, I truly believe in this. When you look at the New World Order, they're the storytellers. And that's the reason why I wrote my New World Order book. But guys, now it's time to change the current generation. And I wrote 3 kids books. I love the Trinity because I understand the power that's in it. So I have 3 books. We have an opportunity to change the generation, to educate, not just me, but I want to show you that I take action on a daily basis. And I want you to take action on a daily basis. Whether it's your job, whether it's in your community, we have an opportunity right now to educate the masses. I posted this on my Twitter account. Please share, but this is a short clip of the 3 books. There's going to be a clothing line and action figures. Please get these books for your kids, nephews, cousins, friends, so therefore we can start the re-education now. Because as we see, the 4th Industrial Revolution foundation is definitely here. robots, algorithms, drones, taking humanity out the picture. We have to re-educate. But let's get into the video.
Part 1. King Joshua and Grandma Tam save the village. Part 2. King Joshua and Grandma Tam save New York from COVID 33. Part 3. King Joshua and Grandma Tam goes to China.
It's mandatory to get part 1, part 2, and part 3 of this series. It's time to re-educate Generation Z.